Please welcome CEO of the DEC Network, Bill Chen.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming tonight. Thank you for coming to the 7th annual State of Entrepreneurship. We appreciate you being here. We're excited. I hope you're excited. I think you must be, because we sold out this event 3 or 4 weeks ago. And I think we have 700 people watching us on video right now. So it feels like there's some pent-up demand out there. Now, for those of you that this is one of your first physical times back, we're a little bit rusty, right? We haven't done this for a long time, so we're going to help you through that. We got a great audience tonight. We've got nonprofit folks. We've got corporate executives. We've got the mayor of Dallas. We've got all kinds of entrepreneurs and startup founders. So we're going to give you a little idea on how to navigate that room, because we know it's been a long time for you. So let's start pretty easy. Let's start with, how do you figure out if you're sitting next to an entrepreneur? How do you figure you're sitting next to an entrepreneur? Yeah, that's right. You don't have to. They're going to tell you all about it. You're going to know everything you need to know about their business by the end of the night. So good, you got the first one. All right, we're going to get a little more difficult here, guys. So what about corporate executives? How do you figure out perhaps the difference between a corporate executive and a nonprofit executive? Anyone got that one? Nonprofit executive? I mean, in the old days, you would just tap them on the shoulder and say, did you make money last year? Right? And if they said yes, that's a corporate executive. But after last year, it was a tough year for a lot of companies. It's hard to kind of tell these days. So now we got to go back to that old theme that a corporate executive is stressed, they're depressed, but yet well-dressed. And we have a lot of really well-dressed corporate executives in the audience. We have some amazing people from Tyler Tech. We have Austin and Charlie from Dallas.Inc. We've got Mike from Toyota, Tyler from PepsiCo, my friend, Charlie and Bill from Realcomm Solutions, Emily from B of A, Ro from PNC, Greer from Charles Schwab, Wendy Wells Fargo. Those bankers are always well-dressed. And we've got a big group from Capital One who are watching us online right now. So we don't know if they're well-dressed, right? But they could be in their bunny slippers, but we assume that they're still well-dressed at home. Okay, what about nonprofit board members? Can you tell the difference if you're sitting next to a nonprofit board member? That's tough, right? So we're going to make that a little bit easier on you guys. We're going to have them stand in a second. But I'm going to make a distinction. There are 2 types of nonprofit board members. There's associate board members, and they're 30-somethings, energetic. And then you've got fiduciary board members. They tend to be a little bit older, a little wiser. So I'll give you an example of how to tell the difference. If a light bulb were to burn out over here, and the person next to you jumps up, changes the light bulb really efficiently, that's an associate board member. If the person next to you says, I don't know why we need to change that light bulb. There was nothing wrong with that light bulb. That's a fiduciary board member, right? So now you see the difference. Hey, can we have any nonprofit board members or task force members stand up? Any nonprofit board members, task members, please stand up. All right, thank you for your service, guys. We really appreciate it. A lot of the people standing here were instrumental in the Revive Fund that brought $3.2 million to struggling businesses in Dallas to help them survive the pandemic. So we appreciate you guys. All right, guys, we're going to keep going down here. We've covered board members. Board members, you can sit down now. So we appreciate your work here, but we got to move to the next group here. All right, guys, we see a lot of nonprofit board members. Big turnout from the nonprofit board members. We appreciate you guys coming. Saw a couple of my board members, so this might be the right time to tell them that joke about fiduciary board members, not about my board. No, they're cutting edge, right? They're futurists. So that was nothing to do with them. Now we're going to give you a really tough one. What about these conscious capitalist guys? So they're kind of nonprofit, they're kind of for-profit. How do you tell if you're sitting next to one of those? Well, you can't, so I'm just going to tell you. We got Mike Hoke and we've got Arthur from So Good. We really appreciate you guys coming, doing some amazing work out there. All right, how about women founders? How do you tell if you're next to a woman founder? Oh, we got one over there. Welcome. But women founders got a total of 27% less funding in 2020 than they did in 2019. All right, so how do you tell a woman founder? Well, they're going to be upset, right? You should be too. That doesn't make any sense. So that's how you tell a woman founder. What about university folks? Right? Again, we're going to go back to the light. If a light bulb burns out and someone standing next to you says to a grad student, go change that light bulb, that's a professor right there. Right? Simon Mack, right? Let's be honest, Simon, you have not changed a light bulb in a very long time. Let me tell you how old Simon is. He was my entrepreneurial professor. That's how old that guy is. How about investors? Right? We got VCs, we got angels. They're out there too. So how do you tell if you're sitting next to an angel or a VC? Anyone got this one? Yeah, same thing, right? Just like the entrepreneurs. Don't worry, they're going to tell you all about the unicorn that they got in the 1990s. So they'll let you know that they're an investor. All right, so hopefully we've given you a couple of tips on how to re-engage in the physical world, figured out how to tell who's next to us. And we're going to leave you in a very capable hands. We're going to leave you in capable hands of our amazing event staff, Alex, Kendall, Julia. You guys nailed the centerpieces as you always do. Great job. But I want to leave you with my favorite MC, your favorite MC, and the DEC Network founder, also the recipient of the Entrepreneurial Lifetime Achievement Award, my favorite guy in the world, Trey Bowles.
All right. How's everybody doing? So it's been a long time since we've done this, and I know we're going to probably hear this a lot tonight, but if you remember anything about the events we used to put on, there's one thing that we do every single time. Does anybody remember what that is? Clap? Did somebody say clap? That's good. There you go. Okay. So here's what we do. It is nerve-wracking to get on stage in front of a bunch of people and talk. Most people would prefer death to public speaking. So what we do at all of our events is that every single time somebody comes to the stage, you have to stand up, you have to cheer and yell and scream and make them feel comfortable so we're like a family and they can get up and speak in front of you without being nervous. So I'm gonna walk back onto the stage. Will you please indulge me in standing up and giving a rousing, amazing welcome to Trey Bowles, our MC for the night. Come on. No, thank you. Thank you. No, guys, seriously. Everybody thinks I do that for my own edification, and I promise that I don't. It's really about making everybody feel welcome, getting them engaged, getting them involved. And if you stand up every 5 minutes or so, it's harder for you to fall asleep. So tonight is a celebration. This is what we like to call the Super Bowl of entrepreneurship. It's one of the most exciting nights that we have because we get to talk about all the things that you guys are accomplishing over the last 12 months. And I'm telling you in a minute, I'm gonna get to talk about that. And you're gonna be fascinated by all the great stuff going on. We get all kinds of bits of information from here and there, but really getting to see and this is just an example of what's going on in terms of the fundings, in terms of the event programs getting started, in terms of the exits that are happening. It is absolutely incredible. Our goal is to really highlight what's going on in North Texas and really showcase the entrepreneurs and the programs and the support organizations that are making that happen. And this can be seen not just through entrepreneurs and not just through support organizations, but through a bunch of different stakeholders that take place in the city. That can be the actual city at City Hall. It could be investors. It could be chambers of commerce. It could be corporations. Bill talked about all of the different stakeholders before. The exciting thing is that we all play a role in building a robust and powerful ecosystem. This is something that's been happening in Dallas over the last 10 years, but we've got some exciting things that'll be coming out tonight in the next few weeks that'll make you see it all of a sudden step into hyperdrive. For those of you who are online, we'd like to welcome you and thank you for being here tonight. We hope to see you back here in person soon, but are glad that you're getting to join us and hope you enjoy the evening. The State of Entrepreneurship would not be possible without our title sponsor, Dallas.Inc, and partners Alto, Common Desk, PCS Productions, Sparkyard, the Dallas Regional Chamber, and Dallas Innovates. Thank you guys for being here. That's an important part of what makes us work. The other thing I'm excited about tonight is that we get to recognize individuals, people in this audience, people who have participated in making this ecosystem great. One of the things we talk about over time is the idea that a rising tide raises all ships. And if we all work together, we all support what's going on here, we'll really, really be able to see some impactful things going on. Tonight, we're going to get to highlight just a few of you, but there's so many of you here that make that possible. Some of the awards that we're going to give away tonight are Startup Evangelist of the Year, Creative Entrepreneur of the Year, Rising Entrepreneur of the Year, Student Entrepreneur of the Year, Investor of the Year, and Corporate Supporter of the Year. That's a lot of different awards to give away, but we really want to acknowledge the people that are making this great. So we are super excited because we do have a special guest with us tonight, and someone that we have not, that I haven't gotten to see in person in a while. But when I think about the responsibilities of mayor, beginning with being the public face of such important issues like affordable housing, public safety, civic corruption, streets, and as we all know, potholes. But one of the pressing issues that our mayor have had to face in this time since his office is COVID-19. This has affected millions of people in Dallas and across the area and has forever changed so much of what we are as a city and who we are as a people. It's not an easy job, and I don't think it's one that many of us would envy, but in the midst of all of that, our mayor has seen fit to use his influence and his position to focus on things like addressing economic recovery of our community. You've seen this through Dallas Forward, one of his initiatives that we'll talk about later, and one issue near and dear to my heart, startups. There you go. Our mayor has created an entire task force focused on how to make Dallas second to none on the planet for innovation and entrepreneurship. I, for one, would like to thank Mayor Eric Johnson for his leadership as it relates to many of the issues and for the purposes of tonight, entrepreneurship. Please help me welcome to the stage the City of Dallas Mayor, the Honorable Eric Johnson.
That was awesome. It's so natural and spontaneous. Good evening, everyone, and I have to tell you, this is one of my first indoor, in-person events in about a year, so I'm super excited. I can't tell you how glad I am to be spending with all of you, so this is pretty cool. This is very, very cool. I'm thrilled to be here, and I'm especially excited to talk about an issue that's of great importance to our city. And it's something that's part of my Building for the Future agenda, and that is fostering a culture of innovation in the city of Dallas. I realize that when people think of Dallas, they think of big things. We told the whole world through a very expensive marketing campaign for years that big things happen here. And that makes perfect sense when you think about all the things that our city has to offer. After all, we're the 9th largest city in the United States, for those of you who didn't know. We drive, as the 9th largest city in the United States, a fast-growing and robust economy here in the country's 4th largest metro area. We're home to 11 Fortune 500 companies within the city of Dallas and 14 other Fortune 500 companies in the region, 25 in total. We also boast 2 of the world's most bustling and vibrant airports, DFW and Love Field. We have a fantastic art scene here in Dallas. We've got amazing restaurants, and we've got many, as you well know, successful small businesses that are the envy of this nation. But as big as Dallas is, we're not a slow, plodding city. We're nimble. We're adaptable. Innovation and entrepreneurship is part of this city's DNA. Our city was built on innovative thinking. Like I mentioned before, we're a top 10 US city, despite, and think about how many cities you think of in this country that are big, major urban areas that have a navigable waterway. We don't. Or a large port of some sort, access to a large body of water. We don't. Or who boasts tremendous natural resources like oil and gas reserves. We don't. Yet and still, top 10 city, because we're the kind of city that builds parks on top of freeways. We're a launching pad for many of the entrepreneurs who you will hear from tonight. And I'm here to tell you, we haven't even scratched the surface of what we're capable of. The COVID-19 pandemic showed us how critical it is for cities to foster this culture of innovation that I'm talking about. As a society and as a city, we had to figure out how to adapt over the last year. For many of us, our world went online. Traditional brick and mortar offices were replaced with Zoom and Microsoft Teams meetings. In other words, we stayed connected because of the kinds of technology that you used to only see in the movies, or, to date myself, on cartoons like the Jetsons. But that's what innovation can do. But last year was so much more than that. To get through day-to-day life, we needed entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs to figure out how we could safely grab a meal or go to the grocery store. To survive, we relied on innovators in the medical field to figure out how to get us tests and treatments and the vaccines that have allowed us to be back together, physically together again on a night like tonight. We've had to mourn and lament a lot in the past year. Many lives in this city, people in this room, I'm sure, all across this country and all over this world, lives and livelihoods, temporarily and in some cases forever altered. We endured unprecedented, and people throw that term around a lot, but this truly was unprecedented economic and social upheaval, and if we're honest with ourselves, isolation. But we also witnessed the persistence, the creativity, and the ingenuity of the human spirit at work. And while we've yet to fully come to grips with exactly how much our world has been changed by the past year, we know that what we've experienced can make us stronger and more resilient in the years to come. And as our world moves forward, I believe that Dallas needs to be a city that leads. And that means that it's absolutely imperative that we foster that culture of innovation and entrepreneurship like we never have before. Dallas should be an inclusive hub for entrepreneurs. Not just tolerant of entrepreneurs, or no, we have a few. We need to be a hub, an attractive force for entrepreneurs. I want Dallas to be not one of the top city for women entrepreneurs. And I want our city to be the #1 city for all historically underrepresented groups of entrepreneurs. And going forward, when people talk about innovation, I want Dallas to be in that conversation, right along with Silicon Valley and New York and Austin, and lately my good friend, and he's a good buddy, but he's making some real progress down in Miami, Mayor Suarez. I want Dallas to be in that national conversation, in that international conversation for innovation, startups. I want Dallas, however, to be different than those other places. We're not going to just mimic what other people do. I want us to be different, and I want us to be better. I want us to be better. Because Dallas can and should be on the cutting edge of our rapidly changing economy. And I believe that if we focus on startups, we can help what's already a diverse business sector become even stronger than it already is, and even more robust and resilient. I know, because I've been through it now for 2 years nearly, as the mayor of the city through some very difficult times, Dallas is ready for this. We have the generous, hardworking, and as you all are a testament to, entrepreneurial people to make Dallas a 21st century city with a workforce that's equipped, truly equipped, for the jobs of tomorrow. And I'm committed to doing everything that I can as the mayor of the city to ensure that that's the case. And that's why late last year, I elevated this issue to a mayoral priority for the first time in the history of our city by creating the Mayor's Task Force on Innovation and Entrepreneurship. That task force was chaired by Mandy Price, the CEO of Canaries, and Trey Bowles, where Trey go, two of our city's finest entrepreneurs. I asked them to assemble other experts. I didn't meddle. I said, come back to me with concrete recommendations for how we can attract and retain startups in the city of Dallas. The task force members represent entrepreneurs, the financial industry, and academic institutions as well. They're finalizing their report as we speak, and they'll be releasing it publicly next week. In it, you'll see recommendations to provide startups, like many of you in this room, with the resources, support, and yes, the capital that you need to grow right here in Dallas, Texas. I'm excited about the rollout of this report, and I'm even more excited to place those recommendations before the Dallas City Council. And I expect those recommendations to become a key component of our city's brand new economic development plan that was going to help our city build for the future. Because the future, whether we're ready for it or not, is coming. And I don't want Dallas to simply be a part of it. I want us to be out front. I want us to be bold, to go big. This what I'm talking about tonight, if you're paying attention, this really is the ball game of the 21st century. This is it. And I don't intend to lose that ball game. With these task force recommendations, we're going to put the pieces in place for success for many years to come in this city. And I'm going to need all of you in this room to help us garner the support for these recommendations in the months ahead. We're going to have to convince the city council and the city manager to put the oomph of the city government behind these recommendations. You guys in this room are the experts, and I've trusted you and turned over to you the task of telling us what we need to do. Once this task force report becomes public, we're going to need you to transform from being mere experts to being our chief advocates at City Hall for those recommendations. And I have to tell you, I can't wait. I cannot wait. The State of Entrepreneurship in Dallas, Trey, I'm happy to report, is strong. And it's about to get even stronger because of all of you. So thank you very much for having me, and I'm now going to turn it back over to Trey. Thank you so much, and enjoy your evening.
How cool is that? The mayor shows up to tell you that the state of entrepreneurship is good and he's committed to it. How many cities wish they had a mayor like that? Come on. So, if the other thing you guys probably don't remember about these events is they're a little bit different. How many of you have ever been to a state of the city or the state of education or the state of anything else? Well, we do things differently here. This is a beverage. All of you need to have a beverage. Enjoy tonight because it's about to get rowdy. Okay, so here's when things start getting cool. This is when I get excited. Dallas entered, for the first time in 20 years, the $1 billion club last year. Dallas, in early stage funding, did $1.1 billion in early stage funding. Yes. It's been since 2001, since the dot-com boom. Some of you might not have been alive in 2001, but I'm telling you, this is moving back up, and it's because of the innovation, the entrepreneurs, the startups, and the investors that are investing here. So we have a slide behind me. It's going to have a ton of different logos on it. I'm going to go through this really quickly. Some of you are in the room. Not all of the companies that got funded are on the screen behind me, but this is just some of what's happened in the last year. Dotted raised $3.85 million seed round. Alto, $6 million of funding round. Worlds, with our good friend Dave Copps, raised $10 million in a Series A. Rosie, $1 million seed. Lindsay Harper. Bestow, $50 million Series B and a $70 million Series C. Gigwage, Craig Lewis, $120,000 seed, $7.5 million Series A, $2.5 million additional Series A. Caraloop, Michael Walsh, $6 million Series A. Project 202 was acquired by the Big Nerd Ranch. Take Command Health, $2 million bridge round, $12 million Series A. You guys getting tired of me saying million? $1 billion clubs. Media Booker, $2.6 million seed round. Sunny was a Addison Treehouse and Health Wildcatters company. She's had a total of $3.3 million in funding. I don't know if you guys remember several years ago, we did a business pitch competition with Southwest Airlines, and Sunny won a year of free travel with Southwest Airlines. So Southwest Airlines, if you're listening, come back and do that again for somebody else. Linear Lab, Brad Hunstable, the co-founder and Exeter of Ustream, announces a $6 million fund round. Pretty great. StackPath, $216 million Series B. This is one of the co-founders of SoftLayer. SoftLayer, which sold to IBM for $2.2 billion. SoftLayer was the company that put up the first location for the deck back in 2013 for free to test whether or not entrepreneurs in this community need this type of support. Thank you for that. Zerchu. Dennis was here earlier. I don't know if he's still here. It's $4 million. Here's some amazing stories. ShearShare. We all know ShearShare. They've been involved in the community for a while. Backstage Capital, Bread and Butter Ventures, and Revolution's Rise of the Rest Seed Fund, along with others, fund $3.9 million. Canaries, Mandy, who you're going to hear from later, seed funding of $3.3 million from Revolution's Rise of the Rest, 100 Black Angels, Seal Capital Partners, Morgan Stanley, Siegel Ventures, and 2.12 Angels. Tasha Gene Therapy, seed round 30 million, Series B 95 million, announced an IPO April to December in 2020. April 2020 to September 2020, that's what happened. Pickup, who doesn't love Pickup? Is Brenda here tonight? Brenda was another one that started at the Addison Treehouse. If you've not met Brenda, you've got to. Brenda Stoner is a consummate entrepreneur. She's built like 5 or 6 companies, and she's stuck with it and stuck with it and stuck with it, and she has just done incredible things. Maveneer, $500 million private equity round. They've been a supporter of the startup community. Everlywell. What people don't remember is that Everlywell started in Dallas before they moved to Austin, and they raised over $325 million and $75 million secondary market in January 2021. Julia Cheek is a rock star, and she is showing people, she's transforming how healthcare is done on the internet and across the world. The Slate, where are my friends from the Slate? There you go. The Slate is an incredible space, just not very far from here at all, that really has dedicated to supporting and helping women entrepreneurs. They have an amazing video production facility that they use for startups and professional larger companies. They are done amazing things. They have done virtual fundraising and programming for Bishop Lynch, went live for 1 hour, had a goal of $250,000. By the end of virtual program, they surpassed $400,000. The Slate's PR with Leah Frazier, which was the top 35 marketing podcast on Apple Podcasts, produced at the Slate from scratch. Blackstone. How many of my friends here are familiar with or are connected to UT Dallas? Nobody's going to clap for UT Dallas. 50 years old and one of the most amazing universities in the country. 50 years old. Blackstone doubled down, reinvested $5 million to expand the Blackstone Launchpad. Brian Chambers, who's here tonight, was instrumental in helping making that happen and oversees that through the UT system, with UT Dallas leading the efforts. The UT Dallas Blackstone Launchpad has served over 25,000 students since its launch. This is not just about entrepreneurs, it's not just about investors, it's about universities, it's about entrepreneurial support organizations, it's about a slew of people across the road. All right, take a breath. Now let's talk about exits. Can we talk about exits for a second? The point is that I really, at the end of my time talking, want you to be bored at how many amazing things are happening in the DFW area. So if you're starting to get bored, hold on, because it's going to take a little bit longer. Naya Ventures exits Motivity Labs and renames itself Dallas Venture Partners. Topgolf announced an acquisition by Callaway. Rent My Wardrobe was purchased by Wardrobe. You know what's better than exiting your company? Exiting your company twice. BuzzShift, where are you? Are you guys here? Eddie Baudrina and Cameron Golly, there they are, guys. They sold their company, bought it back, sold it again. Eddie Baudrina now is running a new company called Eden Green, which is doing vertical farming. They announced a couple weeks ago a $12 million round. Guys, why don't people all over the country know about this? We are crushing it here. It's happening. Project 202 was acquired by the Big Nerd Ranch. I also want to feature a company that is not just on the for-profit side of things, but is on the whole side of doing well while doing good. How many of you guys have heard of Outside? Outside. Outside. It was started and created, it's outdoor equipment, things like cornhole, tennis in the backyard, all sorts of amazing things, started by Glenn Collins from Switch Creative, many of us know him, with the purpose of giving money back to organizations that support the research of autism, right? Social entrepreneurship is alive and well in this region too. We've got to celebrate the people that are doing this. They hit their crowdfunding goal in 3 days. They've exceeded it by 155%. Amazing stuff. We can't highlight the funding and the capital without recognizing Texas is the home to amazing amount of stage capital that's happening here. And a growing company in Texas may need more than just the initial capital to make this happen. Over 128 local VC firms here, between VCs, family office, corporate venture. DFW saw a $1.1 billion funding in 2020. Did I mention that? Trace commas. Anybody watch Silicon Valley? $1 billion, right? Amazing. The highest annual amount since 2020. There are lots of amazing seed venture groups in town. I'm going to mention a few of them. Impact Ventures, RevTech with the launch of RevTech Equity for Women, Capital Factory with 32 local founders who have raised funding in 2020. Capital Factory moved up from Dallas in an expansion across the entire state. They are the most active investor, early stage investor in the state, moving everywhere. If you haven't heard of the Startup Manifesto, where's Brian? Okay, if you've not heard of the Startup Texas Manifesto, you need to check it out. Josh Bayer has expanded across the country, across the state. They're doing amazing things for entrepreneurs. Dallas Venture Partners, Interlock Partners, Intellis Capital, Blossom Street Ventures, Perot Jane, Mobility Ventures, Cypress Growth Capital, corporate ventures through 7 Ventures, AT&T Ventures, Mind VR, one of the startups that came from out of the Addison Treehouse, did a partnership with the CEO of AT&T's business, Ann Chow, who said, we're entering a new age of digital therapeutics that's harnessing the power of 5G and virtual reality. We're proud to work with Stanford and Mind VR to contribute to the technology behind the future of healthcare. If you have this many corporate behemoths in this city, our startups need to be working with them, and they're doing it. Toyota AI Ventures, angel groups like Cowtown Angels, the Dallas Angel Network, Golden Seeds, and the North Texas Angel Network. There is money out there. We have to build more fundable companies that can go out and get access to that. Accelerators like Bunker Labs, Health Wildcatters, Tech Fort Worth. Are you tired yet? I mean, this is crazy. But the other thing I wanted to mention, we've talked about this a couple times. There's been about 15 companies in Texas funded by Steve Case's Revolution's early stage fund called Rise of the Rest. Steve came to Dallas several years ago. They funded Nixon out of the initial done, and they think they've done 8 or 9 companies funded from that. We are seeing organizations and funding mechanisms like Steve's, like other groups around the country, that when they become aware of what's going on in Dallas, they come in and they invest, and they're not stopping soon. It's amazing to see what kind of work the Rise of the Rest group is doing here. When we invest and we bring people here, they see the other great things that are happening and they get excited. So, can we, a round of applause for you guys. This is crazy. Jennifer Conley, who's one of the other co-founders of the deck, she's here tonight somewhere, and we always used to sort of discuss back and forth, how much do we want to bore people at this event? And then the answer is, the more we bore them, the more we have to share. So hopefully you heard your name, you heard the name of somebody you know, you heard the name of somebody you need to know. Get out there after this is over and spend time networking and figuring out how you play your role in this ecosystem. So as we continue to highlight the wins and successes from 2020, I'd like to welcome Charlie Lass, founder of Dallas.Inc, to the stage. Tonight would not be possible without him, our title sponsor, as we look forward to hearing from Charlie why North Texas is a thriving location and a future for innovation. Charlie? Come on, that's weak, please.
Hello. Yeah, that's us. Hopefully you've seen our logo around a little bit. We try not to over-decorate, but... So I've been here about 3 years, and I've never heard it summed up better, what Trey and Eric have said about the potential behind Dallas. We could be anywhere, but we choose to be here. And thank you, Your Honor, thank you, Trey, thank you to the DEC, all the team at the DEC who've made this possible. I hope everyone's pandemic was lots of fun. Yeah, 2020 panned out exactly as we all hoped. We are here to find, fund, or launch the best ideas in DFW. And we've done this based on data. There's probably a slide behind me as well. That one. Oh, never mind. Now, we're only a technology company. We should probably make that work. Oh, yes. Let's go back. What? Lovely. Right. Ecosystem. So the MIT Innovation Institute has a very simple framework for talking about how entrepreneurial cities can really accelerate. Now, I think we'd all agree that Dallas has evolved within these 5 pillars very, very nicely. We are here to support every single aspect of that with these 3 things. We're launching an investment fund to bring external money into Dallas to focus on the best ideas that we have in the city. We are providing innovators within the city with a 30-day launch for a new idea, and we're providing founders and early-stage entrepreneurs with support. Now, last year was a bit weird. Entrepreneurial endeavors are stressful. It's the most stressful job I think is possible to have. And there is no support, there's no structure. Everyone calls it a side hustle. It's not a beeping side hustle, it's a job. And it's miserable. It's not fall off a log, end up on the cover of Forbes. It's horrible. It can provide a lot of freedom and focus and ability to be creative. But it's generally, the most time, it's pretty miserable. So we're launching something called Startup Therapy. No, it's as funny as it might sound, and we should laugh about it because otherwise we'll cry. We have the ability to go to counselors, therapists, once a week, once a month, whatever it is. These guys don't necessarily know how crap a career we've all chosen. Having been through the mill a lot, and we launched 32 brands in Dallas quietly last year, and now we decided to poke our head above the parapet and make sure that other people can do the same thing. But it's rough. And so we want to make sure it's a little less rough, or people who might not be ready have the tools and the resources and the knowledge that they need. So we're bringing external money into Dallas. We're helping people here who want to launch new things. And we're going to make sure that the startup community here delivers exactly what we think it can be. And that is my actual phone number. If anyone would like to text me, because please don't call, because it's not 1990. But text is okay. We are providing these resources from now on. This evening, we are launching a competition to give $100,000 of startup support. We're here to find, fund, and launch the best ideas. We're here because Dallas is the best ecosystem for entrepreneurs in the country, and we're here to make sure it happens. Thanks.
When an entrepreneur starts a business, there's so many things that he or she doesn't know. You typically have a subject matter expertise in one area, but you don't know the 272 other things that you need to know. And so by bringing resources, curriculum, coaching, capital, customers to the entrepreneur, then we're really able to help him or her grow.
You can't sit in a dark room and intellect your way to innovation. It takes getting an environment where people are challenging what you're thinking and you're challenging what they're thinking. I mean, it's that debate that often is the catalyst for something really exciting.
It's a lonely job. as an entrepreneur, because your family and friends don't often understand it, and so you really need to be with people who can empathize with you. Those people who are going through the same journey, right? So that again, it comes down to that's another tactile way to extract knowledge that you otherwise may not have had. I think that's why I'm really passionate about the deck, is I get to give to those in the community, entrepreneurs themselves going through the same journey I'm going through.
If you're working by yourself or in a very isolated environment, sometimes entrepreneurs do, it gets really difficult because you feel like you're the only one going through something at any given time. You're not. These events, these gatherings, the education, all of that helps remind folks that they're not in it by themselves.
What I really have loved to see through the history of the DEC network is these organic collisions that happen by putting people in a room around a certain purpose. The idea of building a business, or the idea of focusing in a specific market or at a specific stage, is we're creating access to opportunities that people can create themselves.
I don't always necessarily agree with things that people teach or speak about in conferences, but it makes me think about it and think about why I disagree. And then sometimes I come around, and that's something, a whole new paradigm that I didn't realize I could unlock, or it further affirms why I believe what I believe. And I think that's really powerful, because you have to have conviction as an entrepreneur, and that's really important.
We are just scratching the surface of where North Texas is going to be for entrepreneurs in the next decade. We are a region that was built on the shoulders of entrepreneurs and pioneers and innovators and wildcatters. It's the ethos of who we are and what we're doing, but we are just at the beginning. So what I want you to think about is, what is your role in this ecosystem? How can you support and engage in what's already being done here in North Texas? We ask everybody who comes into any one of our events, as they step across that threshold, is your job is to give back. Find somebody else that you can help. And if you do that, and we're all doing that, we're all starting to help each other. And those organic collisions become intentional relationships. Those intentional relationships become companies, become investors, become employees, become employers. We all play a role in this ecosystem. We all are stakeholders in the success of the companies and the people that run them around us. And our job is to play that role, whatever that role may be. So I'd like to ask you, what is your role? Think about that role. Find and engage with the deck and let them help you find that role and ways to plug in, because it's that and only that that'll make North Texas the best place in the world to be an entrepreneur.
Please welcome Marco Johnson with Sparkyard.
Roll the video. We got a video. I'm not up yet. Anyone? Video? Okay. Sorry about that. There was supposed to be a really cool video that was going to get you all hyped up about Fort Worth and all the cool stuff that we're doing over there. So, yeah, man, what a drag. Maybe Robbie will dig it up someplace. Nope, that's not it. Go back one more. Nothing? Nothing, just this? Okay, all right, we roll with it. That's how we do. Hi, everybody. I am Marco Johnson from Sparkyard over at the UNT Health Science Center in Fort Worth. I had a whole bunch of stuff that I was going to talk about with our video, but that's not going to happen. So I'm going to start off with a little story, a little historical thing here. Who in the Dallas crowd tonight knows that Fort Worth is nicknamed Panther City? Yeah, okay, cool. Who knows why it's called Panther City, and who knows that it's actually because of Dallas that we're called Panther City? Anybody know that story? Okay, let me drop it on you. So 100 years ago, there was a gentleman named Amon Carter, and if you're a TCU frog, you all know exactly who. There you go. You know who Amon G. Carter is. Big-time Fort Worth benefactor and a newspaper owner. And he loved to stoke the rivalry between Fort Worth and Dallas. Who knows why? Probably because it sold more newspapers or something. But as the lore goes,
At one point, a panther escaped the Fort Worth City Zoo. And it was covered by a newspaper in Dallas. And the newspaper said something like, a panther was loose in Fort Worth. But it was no big deal. Nobody could have been harmed because Fort Worth downtown is so sleepy that a panther could walk down the middle of the street and no one would ever see it. So like any good media mogul, Eamon G. Carter leaned into this slight, and he gratefully, cheerfully adopted the nickname Panther City, and we still have it to this day. What we want to show you here tonight is that we are still Panther City, but the Panther is waking up. So first off, what is Sparkyard? Who am I? Why am I even here? We launched at the end of 2019, and it's pretty simple, really, but there's a little bit of magic in our simplicity. This is a weird clicker. There we go. This is our website. So we are a digital platform, free digital platform that connects entrepreneurs to the resources they need to launch and grow their company. So right resource at the right time. And since we launched in 2019, we've got 55 resource partners like the Debt Network, like my ecosystem homegirl, Dallas.Inc. There she is. Yep. Charlie, let's get Dallas Incorporated up here. We're looking for you. We've serviced thousands of clients with our online platform so far, but why is Sparkyard even needed? Well, Fort Worth is the 13th largest city in the country by population. That's a surprise to most people who hear that. But our ecosystem is fragmented, it's siloed, there's no clear pathway to success for entrepreneurs, no easy way for them to access the resources that they need, right? So Sparkyard is the antidote to that. We are this free platform that entrepreneurs come to get access and to understand what this entrepreneurial journey is and who to go to and when. So we've taken this really cool, incredibly strong connection platform, and we've used it to pursue all sorts of other cool things in the ecosystem. I don't have time to go into all of them now, but please check out the website and you'll see more. But one of the things we did do is double down on performance metrics. Nobody over in Tarrant County is paying any attention to ecosystem performance metrics. So we decided, why not us? And if anyone knows anything about economic development, what's the most important thing in economic development? Jobs. Jobs, right? So we commissioned a study with our friends at SourceLink and the Kauffman Foundation. We decided to study the number of jobs that new companies create. So firms 0 to 1 year old in Tarrant County, industry agnostic. How many jobs do you think companies 0 to 1 year old start in Tarrant County every year? Shout it out. What do you think? 5,000, okay. A little higher? Anyone? 25, I'm probably blocking this, aren't I? Over 25,000 jobs a year. Now this is 2018. That's a pretty astounding number, right? For sleepy little Tarrant County? That's just 2018. We looked at 5 years of data and it's the same thing. Over 25,000 jobs every year from these young companies. So that sounds pretty cool, right? But how do we compare it to the other big counties in Texas? So Dallas, no surprise, y'all are killing it. Considering you're not that much bigger than us, but you're generating 20,000 jobs more a year than we are. So kudos to you guys. Everything that you've heard from the folks before me talking tonight speaks to your great success. But look, Tarrant, on par with Bexar County and Travis County, where Austin is. So we might not be starting up the same kind of high impact companies that Austin is, but we got a pretty good start here. And we feel like with a little bit more effort, we can really get this number to grow in a big way. So let's talk about exits. Most people, even in Fort Worth, don't think of our city as a big biotech hub. But take a look at this slide. Over 5 years, we've had 5 huge exits in the biotech space, starting with ZS Pharma. In 2015, it sold to AstraZeneca for $2.7 billion. That's big. And so we continued the trend all the way up to 2020 with Ivance at $225 million. And I got to give a shout out to our homies over at Tech Fort Worth and my own institution, the Health Science Center. No wonder I can't read. I don't have my glasses on. Our institutions have touched almost every one of these companies. in some meaningful way. And I'm here to tell you that we're building the pipeline for the next generation of big biotechs. So keep an eye out. The next time you have us over here, we're going to have more companies on this slide that we can add to. Now, on the other end of the entrepreneurial spectrum, we have a diverse array in Fort Worth of creatives, artist entrepreneurs, Main Street companies that really put the funk in Funky Town, right? We're also Funky Town. I'm sure you've heard that. I'm going to show you a video here from Jonathan Morris. He's one of our local startup famous entrepreneurs. He runs the coolest barbershop in Fort Worth. Maybe you heard about a boutique hotel. He's opening them up across from the new Dickies Arena. But check this out. He's an entrepreneur. He's got his own television show on the Magnolia Network. And as an entrepreneur, his job is to go out and interview other entrepreneurs about the cool stuff that they're doing. So these are all Fort Worth companies. The first season of his show, he just stayed in Fort Worth because of COVID. And it's really incredible. So please take a look. There's so much cool stuff happening over in Funky Town. And we're really proud of the work that Jonathan is doing and continues to do. And he's an inspiration, and so many other people like him. So, and look, he got a panther on his shirt, so you can't beat that. Okay, so we've talked about the past, we talked about the present. The last thing I want to share with you is about how we're building the startup ecosystem in the future, how we're really going to get that panther on the run. So you all over here on this side of the Metroplex are familiar with Dallas Startup Week and how the DEC Network does an incredible job every year catalyzing entrepreneurs, organizing, getting everybody together. Our version of this over on the Fort Worth side is Global Entrepreneurship Week. And this is actually a global platform. It's offered in 180 countries around the world. It's tens of thousands of events and millions of people every year. And we've been running this for 3 years now. And I'm really happy to report that in 2020, Fort Worth, was the biggest GEW event in the country. So we're super proud of that. Thank you very much. We could not, and I stress, we could not have done this without the DEC Network. They provided so much expertise and the technology platform and just the support to help us pull this thing off. So them and the 40+ community organizers who actually create the content that people want to go to, that's where our success lies. And you know, in the past, we've done this all on a shoestring budget. We went from our first year, 17 events, to our third year, 93 events, being the first in the country. We've done it all on the shoestring budget, and I'm really happy to announce here for the first time that we have a really great title sponsor for 2021, and that's Dell. So, thank you. You know, 2020 threw us all for a loop. And despite the challenges, like any good group of innovators, we pivoted to a fully online format, and it opened up opportunities that we never would have had otherwise. So not only do we have participants and attendees from 28 states in the US, but we had participants from 46 countries around the globe, and presenters from all over. We had sessions in 3 languages. Nobody was more surprised than us, believe me. So it was really incredible. Now, of course, we're back at it again for 2021. Get out your phones. After Dallas Startup Week, we're going to end the year really strong with entrepreneurship in November. GEW Fort Worth, please register. Come check us out. Come be a part of the fun, and let us help you get your company started and connected. So I'm going to close up here by saying a big Texas thank you. And thanks to the DEC Network for having us over here to rep the western side of the Metroplex. It's truly an honor to be on the stage with all of these great influencers tonight, these distinguished folks who are making a big impact on entrepreneurs. In terms of Sparkyard, please follow us online on social media and look for us on Clubhouse. So we have a room every Tuesday at noon on the Clubhouse app. If you don't know what Clubhouse is, come find me and we'll get you on. It's really cool. So finally, here's what I'm going to close with. Just a heads up, the Panther is awake, and we're coming for you, Dallas. Okay, so it is my pleasure to introduce Dallas Regional Chamber Vice President of Research and Innovation, Mr. Dwayne Donksright.
I can't believe I have to follow that jacket. Sorry, Marco. All right. So 5 years ago, Quincy Preston and I, Quincy, where are you? You're out here somewhere, raise your hand, all right. Started Dallas Innovates. We wanted to tell the stories and celebrate the innovators and the entrepreneurs of Dallas-Fort Worth. We called it Journalism with Lift. Now with thousands of subscribers, millions of page views a year, we're helping change the narrative of innovation in Dallas-Fort Worth. While this past year was like no other, we marched on. Our entrepreneurial community was really resilient, creative, and filled with game changers. So I'm going to give a lightning round, get ready, of just a few of your stories we told on Dallas Innovates, straight from our headlines. All right. So our community stepped up in a big way to face the challenges of COVID. Hubert Zychek of Health Wildcatters launched a health hacking crisis network, a rapid reaction force designed to address the healthcare challenges caused by COVID-19. Dave Kops and his company Worlds built a one-breath screening device for COVID-19. Corey Clark and Robert Atkins at Balance Media teamed up with Complexity Gaming to leverage spare computing processing power to help find COVID-19 treatments. And Get Shift Done, formed by Anurag Jain and Patrick Brandt, connected displaced hospitality workers with nonprofits to provide hunger relief to 11 cities across the US. In just 90 days of existence, it served 40 million meals and gave livelihoods to more than 20,000 laid-off hospitality workers. It's amazing. For their efforts, they were awarded the badge of being the Fast Company magazine's top 50 world's most innovative companies right here in Dallas-Fort Worth. In 2020, CBRE ranked DFW 6th on the list of top emerging life science clusters in the US. We saw Cersei get acquired by Acadia Pharmaceutical in a $52 million deal. Ivance Pharmaceuticals in Fort Worth exited for $225 million. Lantern Pharma went public, and their AI platform now has more than 4.5 billion data points curated for oncology drug development. In under 6 months, Taysha Gene, Trey mentioned, Taysha Gene Therapies rocketed from UT Southwestern spinout to a $157 million IPO. It's believed to be one of the fastest seed to IPOs in biotech history, right here in Dallas-Fort Worth. Now Pegasus Park is taking center stage. Gotta make sure my slides are in order. The new 23-acre development will serve as a go-to place for life science and early stage companies. Biolabs is bringing a 30,000 square foot wet lab co-working space there. UT Southwestern is moving its commercialization department to Pegasus. Tech Fort Worth is partnered to bring its Think Lab accelerator there. And don't be surprised if you hear a lot more exciting announcements in the very near future. So industry diversity is one of our biggest strengths. We talk about it all the time at the Chamber. We saw successes across all industries. Here's just a few examples. Gaming company Gearbox was acquired by global games giant Embracer Group in a deal worth $1.3 billion. Brad Hunstable, mentioned earlier, and Linear Labs continued on their quest to make this region the Detroit of electrification with a big partnership with the city of Fort Worth. Roberto Anetti of RoboAmp, Fred Burns of Safer Management, and Ked Cole from XR Sports Group were selected by Google for Startups for a 6-month program for underrepresented entrepreneurs. Woo. FinTech and InsurTech continues to be one of our strongest growth points in this region. Companies like GigWage, Car Capital, Bestow, Zerchu, all raised capital and grew their companies here. And people are creating places for new entrepreneurial collisions. Mayor Johnson formed the task force that you heard about earlier, led by Trey Bowles and Mandy Price, to find ways to strengthen this city as a hub for entrepreneurs. Silicon Valley-based GSV Ventures announced it's going to open a incubator at So Good, just south of downtown Dallas. UTD announced it's bringing 5 research centers and an extension of the Venture Development Center under one roof to the Richardson IQ. The city of McKinney is growing its own startup ecosystem with their innovation fund. The North Texas Innovation Alliance was launched with local governments and area companies to bring smart city solutions to our communities. Nick Clark continues to expand Common Desk and opening new locations, including at the Cotton Gin building in Deep Ellum. And of course, the Slate Sisters have created a home for female founders in the Design District. Jason McCann and the team at Very continue to do what they do best, re-envision the workplace. And Dallas had its best year in venture capital funding. We saw over $1 billion, as Trey said, flow into the Dallas region. Over $1 billion, Trey. Woo! Naya Ventures rebranded as Dallas Venture Partners. Republic Cities launched in Dallas, bringing a new way to raise capital. Impact Ventures continues to grow, supporting women and entrepreneurs of color, and is now building its Dallas Inclusive Capital Fund. RevTech launched a new fund focused on women founders in retail. Centero Ventures started a $10 million fund focused on AI companies. Austin-based SKU, a CPG accelerator, launched in DFW. And Venture Dallas connected over 300 startup founders to 147 capital firms from around the country. Capital Factory released the Texas Manifesto 2.0 and continues to bring capital and startups together from across the state. And finally, one of the biggest stories of the year, Alchemy, the Plano-based banking software provider that was founded in 2009 and now has over 10 million digital users. 10 million digital users. IPO'd last month, just a few weeks ago, at a near $3 billion valuation. I think that deserves a round of applause for that. So please help me in welcoming founder Stephen Bohannon up to the stage to hear a little bit about his experience of growing his company to IPO. All right.
Check. Thank you, Dwayne.
Congratulations. All right, we got 3 questions for Stephen. One, he and I have talked through this all about Dallas-Fort Worth. Tell me one thing that you attribute your company's growth to.
I'm not kissing up when I say this, I'm part of the Dallas Regional Chamber, and I will tell you that starting especially a technology company, my co-founder, is actually based in Oklahoma City. It's actually where I grew up. And so when we were thinking about where should this company be, as a software company, I went on LinkedIn and I just did a search of skills that was the specific technology stack we were using to build our software. And I think I got 2 hits in Oklahoma City on LinkedIn for those skills. And I think when I looked at the DFW area, it was like 150 hits of potential people to recruit to the company for that. And just that one little story right there solidified it for me. I said, it's a tech company, we've got to be in Dallas. The fact that we're centrally located, we have customers all across the country, direct flight everywhere. We relocate a lot of people that we recruit to the company to Dallas. It's not a hard sell to get them to come here, especially key leaders and things part of the company. So I'm not saying this to kiss up to you, but I would tell you it would have been very hard for us to do what we did, the speed of growth and the people that is required to make that happen in a different community. And so we're very, very appreciative to the resources that you all have here, and it's made a big difference for Alchemy.
So we hear that all the time from founders that have moved here. As the Chamber goes and recruits companies, that message carries over and over and over again.
Sure.
So as a founder, you have to make really tough decisions about where you want to take the company. You made one really hard decision, I think, in bringing on a new CEO at one point. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, sure. Well, that was about 8 years ago. So, yeah, that wasn't the easiest discussion to have with our early investors, especially for me, because I'd put my heart and soul into it. But ultimately, what I wanted was to win championships, and that even if I didn't get to call all the plays. And I just wanted to be on a championship team. And really, when you thought about our journey and what we were going to need, we were going to need to go out and get additional funding. We were going to need to go past a Series A. We're going to have to B, C, D, E, potentially raising, tens or hundreds of millions of dollars. And it was something that, I knew software and I knew sales, but I didn't know fundraising. I didn't really know about all of this. And so bringing someone in who could spend a lot of their time doing that, dealing with board matters and allowing me to do the things I was doing on the creative and technology side, I'll tell you what, at the time it was a tough pill to swallow, but probably within 3 months, I was very, very happy with that decision. That was over 8 years ago. I've learned a lot more, but I think the real key was, again, just wanting to be successful and not really being hung up on how we got there.
It's fantastic. Okay, so tell us about the IPO experience and any advice for the entrepreneurs.
And any advice?
Any advice for entrepreneurs out there and the things you would want to leave them with tonight.
Well, the IPO experience, if I'm being honest, it was really awesome. I will have to say that. It was very, very it was awesome in the way that something that you work so hard at and you put so much into and so many hours and so many people that come along with you along the way that believe in you, whether it be investors, employees, people that join the team. And so it's awesome to see that their belief in you paid off, right? And so that's something I would say that all entrepreneurs and founders, there's that little bit of worry and fear that, my gosh, these people believe me. What if I let them down? What if we don't get to the promised land, right? And now part of that motivates you as well. But I would say that the process of the IPO is not a big party. You all see when we ring the bell and all that. There's a lot of work. It started about 18 months before that. And the 3 months leading up to it, I did, I think, 90 test the water meetings. Our road show, I think I did 47 meetings over the course of 6 days. And then you finally culminate in that bell going off and you seeing your ticker that you can add onto your phone and track it, right? So it is definitely surreal. But then after a couple days of the afterglow, then you're just right back at it with just more pressure. So I would say that it was definitely awesome. It's not, I wouldn't recommend it to everyone, but for certain types of companies and things, it's definitely a great experience. And for us, I'm just so happy for our employees and our investors that they were able to be part of this and that are able to still be part of it. As far as what I would tell the entrepreneurs that are here, one thing, there is, since we're talking about investors and entrepreneurs, there is this kind of general rule of thumb that I've heard, like our investors that said, as they're describing to me as they look at other companies, they said, whenever we're told this is how much we need by an entrepreneur, they said the general rule of thumb is we have to ask ourselves, are we willing to at least triple that? Because that's probably what it's going to take, at least 3 times what they think that they're going to need. Now, I will tell you a couple things. One, I went back and pulled out our original business plan because that's always fun, right? When you're going through this, for our Series A, what did I tell them we would need? I told them at the most we would need would be $5 to $6 million, and that one day this company could be worth as much as $50 million. So I was off by about 70 times on how much was needed, because I think as of our Series F, it was around $400 million. But the good news is I was also off 70 times on what it would be worth, because we're about $3.5 billion right now. So it's 70 times both ways. So technically, I'd say I was right on the ratio. But what I will tell you on that 3X rule, while investors have it, I think I would say to entrepreneurs as well, you need to be ready for 3X the effort you think it's going to take. Because I will just tell you, this was not the journey I thought it was going to be. It's still not. It's years and years of working 7 days a week, literally, and then many years working 6 days a week. I'm finally getting to where I think I only have to work 5.5 days a week. So I would just tell you, be ready for it. And also I would say don't get discouraged, because a lot of times you ask yourself, should it be this hard? Yes, it is. So, it's like anything else. If you want it to be big, it's going to take an outsized effort to get an outsized result. And so I would say 2 things. 1, be prepared for it. Number 2, don't get too discouraged if it seems like it's much tougher than it's going to be, because that's normal.
Fantastic. Can we give Stephen a round of applause? Thanks, Steve. All right, so I'm just going to end on this. Look, those amazing stories, and that was just a small part of what we told on Dallas Innovates. Those were amazing stories that I shared. This was all accomplished in spite of a pandemic, in spite of the recession, in the face of social unrest that this community has never seen. We have come out stronger, and we're changing things for the better. I'm so encouraged, and I can't wait to see what the next year brings. So Make sure you sign up for Dallas Innovates, and thank you.
BUILD is a coalition of business support organizations and capital providers working alongside community stakeholders to address the gap in resources for entrepreneurs of color, women founders, and underrepresented founders in the Dallas market.
The mission of Dallas BUILD is to close the resources gap. Those resources include technical assistance, access to capital, and other services that are a gap for many minority, women-owned entrepreneurs in the area.
One of the biggest issues with growing small businesses is access to capital.
Without small businesses, we would not have diversity. We would not have options. We would not have the availability to serve local citizens. So we need small businesses. They sustain the economy.
We can grow the small business community by giving them our support and by giving them direction to the resources that they need to be able to find success, and keeping them plugged into all the resources while they're busy doing their work.
If you look at the data, small businesses make up a large part of our economy in terms of job creation, nationally and here locally in the Dallas-Fort Worth region. So when we think about why we should support those organizations that are small businesses, it's because they fuel our economy. Without small businesses, we wouldn't see the results that we see in job creation, neighborhood revitalization, or even wealth building, which is critical, especially for individuals who have traditionally not been able to access traditional avenues of wealth building.
Ideally, we want the small business community to have access and have one place where they can go to find all these resources that they need. And that's through the Dallas BUILD's website.
I think that if we maximize the business service organizations, you will see an equitable difference, meaning that we would have more business service organizations that are throughout Dallas County and not primarily in one side. That would be a beautiful, beautiful way to leverage growth.
If you're someone who works in the economic development realm, the capital realm, I think the question is, how do we create new investment vehicles, innovate products that can really meet small businesses where they are, and help them be able to build the infrastructure that they need to grow and scale their businesses.
Please welcome Demetra Brown and Zarin Gracie.
Listen, let me find my script first, but you know, when you start hearing billions and millions, it's very hard to kind of follow your script because it's easy to get excited about what's happening in DFW. Really, just really for all of that. So Trey, I'm not sure where he went. Thank you, great job. Thank you for having us up here to host this. And like Mayor Johnson said, we're very excited and absolutely cannot wait to hear what the Innovation and Entrepreneur Task Force lays out. Now, with that said, I want to just kind of shift a little bit, talk about what BUILD is, introduce myself. Zarin Gracie, executive pastor for Concord Church, formerly of the city of Dallas, and part of the BUILD Advisory Board. Now, I gotta say this too. I am so excited to be amongst people. I don't have a lot of, make those statements and everybody pause, take that pause and everybody claps, but I'm really happy to be amongst people. So for that, I just want us all to clap and say, hey, welcome back. So we're gonna talk about what BUILD is. Building, broadening urban investment to leverage Dallas. I really can't talk about that ecosystem and how it got started without first talking about how it came to be. JP Morgan Chase, the Better Together Fund, the Communities Foundation of Texas, funded a study that was performed by Next Street. And on behalf of all of the organizations that currently are within that BUILD ecosystem, we want to say thank you for really taking upon that task to really study what was needed in the city as it relates to existing businesses. Without going into a long story, the study basically said we have a number of resource organizations for small, minority, and women-owned businesses, but they work in silos, didn't do a really great job of connecting business with other resources and things like that. So as a result of this study, the Build ecosystem was established. Various organizations that participated in that study, we all came together to set the vision of how the ecosystem would address the findings in the study. After several meetings, it was determined that there would be really 3 working groups: marketing and awareness, business service organizations, and access to capital. Now, when you talk about what is Build, what does it do? We spent a majority of time talking about the entrepreneurs, those startups, but there's another group of business owners that exist. Think your mom and pops, your barbershops. You drive down whatever street you want to drive in, whether it's in Fort Worth, Dallas, Oklahoma, wherever my guy is, Oklahoma City, there's these businesses that have been there for years, right? And it's like, man, why don't they change that awning? Why don't they paint the outside of this building? All of those different things that we think as we drive by. Build exists to really help those businesses address that. And it's really done through that marketing and awareness, the business service organizations, and access to capital. Marketing and awareness. First of all, are you aware, as that business owner, that there are resources out there that actually exist to help you? From a business service organization, are you aware what kind of structure, training, assistance, technical assistance do we need to provide to those type of businesses to get them from here, where they've been for, in some cases, 10 years. They've been sustainable, but how do we move them from where they've been for the last 10 years to grow their business and really create an impact within that community? We're talking economic development. How do we help them create jobs? How do we help them grow their capacity to do more and serve more? And then access to capital, right? Again, with these 3 areas of focus, I want to just pause for a second. I want to thank the Dallas Entrepreneur Center at Redbird, Mitra, the City of Dallas, Impact Ventures, and BCL. These are the 3 organizations that took on that task on top of everything else that they're already doing. They took on the task of leading these 3 areas. Now, with that said, imagine being in that group. Everybody knows what that need is. Everybody's like, oh man, there's going to be more work. There's going to be this. So there's that little moment of silence before each one of them made that decision to take on that lead. And they all stepped up to lead marketing and awareness, business service organizations, access to capital. That's on top of what they're already doing. That's additional work. And in this industry, as an entrepreneur, business service organization, city employee, that's a lot additional work that needs to be done to address these needs. They all did it. So for that, I do want to say, just pause and say thank you for your leadership in doing that. Towards the end of 2019, the collaboration was formalized between the Dallas Entrepreneur Center at Redbird and the City of Dallas to guide that ecosystem. We got the people together. We needed some guidance and some leadership to move that. The formation of the Build Coalition began to take shape. Ultimately, the Build ecosystem was being designed to address the needs of the underrepresented business owners through a set of shared goals. That's important, the shared goals. Each one of these organizations, as I mentioned, were already doing some things. So when you start trying to do that, you kind of get that territorial, well, wait a minute, what is this exactly? But once we established those shared goals, we got all of those, and I'm not sure, I've lost count of how many business service organizations are in that ecosystem now. But once we got that shared goal, everyone was on board and we started moving forward. Build would become the tool for connectivity to address the gap in resources for small, minority, and women-owned businesses. So as we're doing that, as I mentioned, at the end of 2019, we had our plans, we're moving forward, we're thinking, we're talking. But while we were doing that, the pandemic hit, right? And things got dark really quickly, particularly for those existing businesses that I just talked about. And that pandemic taught many organizations, including the city of Dallas, how to mobilize quickly without what I call that "but what about" discussion. We can spend a whole lot of time planning and doing and with the great intentions of helping, but we pause and we delay execution because we're stuck on "but what about." The pandemic taught us all how to come together collectively, mobilize, and assist these organizations and these businesses with doing that. The pandemic affirmed what we needed to be, who we needed to be serving, and where we needed to focus. With that, I'm going to pass the mic over to Demetra to give her an opportunity to talk about what we did, what we were able to accomplish through the Build ecosystem. Thank you so much, Demetra.
First off, let me say this. It has been fun watching Trey up here interject his jokes. And I was telling my husband as I was preparing for this, I said, babe, I want to tell some jokes in my presentation. And he said, leave that to the funny people. So I didn't know what he was saying, but I gathered I wouldn't be telling any jokes. So with that being said, just thank you, Zarin, for joining me up here to tell a little bit about our story. I want to share two things before I get into the meat. Number one, Build was established. The work began in 2019. If you all recall, I believe in 2020, the summer, we had a lot of social unrest. Pre-pandemic, Build had already decided we're going to focus on entrepreneurs of color. So we're not just coming to this party. We've been to the party of serving underrepresented founders. So I just want to pause and recognize folks like Zarin, folks like Danita, Holly, Kristen, who are my ecosystem builders here in Dallas, and just really praise you all for having the foresight to know that's where we needed to be. With that being said, I want to share a few highlights from our work from 2020, and I hope the theme that you all feel throughout this presentation is that it is a collaboration. It is not one organization doing this work, it is us all. With that being said, I'll start with one of our biggest milestones, which was in the summer of 2020, we launched Dallas.Builds.org. Dallas.Builds.org is an online resource hub. We have a site that was established by EcoMap Technologies, a firm that specializes in creating customizable resources to better connect entrepreneurial communities. That website, since its inception in July 2020, has seen over 13,000 unique visitors and over 17,000 page views. Again, this site launched in July 2020. We have not yet hit a full year, and that has been our impact. With that being said, that traffic was driven by a multimedia marketing strategy, which was put together by Build's Marketing and Awareness Committee. That committee includes leaders from the City of Dallas's Office of Business and Workforce Inclusion, the Dallas Regional Chamber, as well as the Women's Business Council Southwest. Those leaders came together and decided they were going to partner with diverse media publications like Dallas Weekly and Informate DFW. With that strategy, we were able to develop a resource database that had over 500 unique resources and events for small business owners. Additionally, through that site, we have over 100 business support providers represented. To date, over 1,400 individuals are subscribed to the site's newsletter. And I just want to emphasize how important this work has been with trying to reach business owners during the pandemic. And I just want to thank that committee for their work. With that being said, I want to transition and shift gears. By the summer of 2020, I believe most folks who were supporting small businesses through the pandemic recognized that when it came to relief funding, some folks were getting left out. What we realized from the data is that minority-owned and women-owned businesses were not getting access to federal relief funding like PPP. In response to this discovery, our personal asset and credit building work group decided we needed to respond. So we pivoted away from our original strategy and decided to develop a dual support model that would provide business owners technical assistance and access to funding. I would like to emphasize again that collaboration has been the key to our work. Our 4 major CDFIs that are located and do business here in North Texas, which include People Fund, Lift Fund, DreamSpring, and BCL of Texas, all came together to design this program. Upon launching this program, we knew we had to provide expert guidance to business owners and economic relief. So in November 2020, we officially launched the Build Small Business Grant Program. Over 125 businesses applied to this program in just 2 weeks. What we found was a stark need for resources and trusted and credible resources that you could speak to about where your business was. With that being said, awardees went through the program and received no cost to them, free one-to-one business coaching from members of the Build ecosystem. I would like to share a little bit about the response of this program. Business owners expressed a ton of gratitude for the funding, but they also expressed a ton of gratitude for being able to talk to someone about where they were in their business. One business owner said in a feedback form, "Being able to access the grant allowed me to stop, breathe, and finally ask experts how to proceed with my business. I left with a clear mission, vision, and funds to upgrade my systems so I can be accessible to my clients as well as my hopeful employees." Together, Bill deployed over $135 in micro grants and recovery efforts to these small business owners. With that being said, I want to transition to talk about our education committee. Zarin mentioned we have a support services committee, which includes folks and leaders from Dallas College, Bill J. Priest Small Business Institute, the Study USA, Impact Ventures, Wings, and Lift Fund Women's Business Center, as well as the Veterans Women's Enterprise Center. Along with other Build organizations in our ecosystem, these collective efforts have only been possible because of these leaders. I want to emphasize Zarin's point. These leaders have full-time jobs, and they commit to doing this collective work to serve small business owners. I would also like to share that over the past year, the Dallas small business ecosystem has served an estimated over 25,000 small businesses. I personally would like to thank these organizations and the entire Dallas small business ecosystem for your service to our community. So what's next? In 2021, we are extremely excited to continue to build upon this momentum. Our theme for this year is driving inclusive entrepreneurial growth for a greater Dallas. To Mayor Eric Johnson's point, we will not achieve what we want to achieve if the approach is not inclusive. And so that is the entire focus of Build. We have our DallasBuilds.org website. We look forward to enhancing that website over the summer and ensuring that it continues to meet small business owners' needs. Also, we're in the process of developing an ecosystem map that will help entrepreneurs better access and navigate their resources. Also, we are researching strategies to develop a process to go to business owners and provide on-the-ground outreach. Additionally, we will expand the Build Small Business Grant Program. Our ecosystem has to work for all small businesses and all entrepreneurs, which means we need more funding resources to meet those entrepreneurs where they are. With that being said, we will continue our efforts in technical assistance. And then also, we understand that in order for our ecosystem to be strong, in order for it to be robust, we have to invest in the business support organizations that provide those services. So we are hoping to partner with our city's philanthropic community to provide capacity building efforts for business support organizations here in Dallas. In closing, I would like to thank JP Morgan Chase & Co. for their catalytic investment in Build. And also I would like to again thank the Dallas small business ecosystem and our partners. And I also would like to invite you all to join us in this work. So thank you.
Okay, so what could happen next? Did you guys, you may not have heard this yet, but I will tell you now, between you and I, early stage investment in Dallas, Fort Worth for 2020 was $1.1 billion. Have you guys, yes, a billion, a B. So I'm one for celebrating. So if you could stand up and all the boys drinking at the bar back there can stand up. We are going to pass around to you a special drink. We're going to take a toast a toast to the DFW ecosystem. It's a toast that's near and dear to our hearts. It's a ranch water. How many people know what a ranch water is? It's real Topo Chico, too. It's the real deal. They would like that. So they're going to be coming around. If you'd like to participate, please do. If you don't, no worries there. I don't have one. I've had a couple toasts tonight, so we're okay. But what better way to celebrate a year together, the last year, a difficult year, thank you. A difficult year with a huge amount of success by coming together. Does everybody have a drink? Nick? Okay. That's one of our exited entrepreneurs from the past. Apparently that's what happens after you exit your business. You hang out by the bar. Can we have a toast to DFW startup ecosystem? Everybody who's been involved, everybody who's supported it, and to the next year, we're committed to making it even better. Hear, hear. Two sips. Okay, so here's another cool part we're gonna do tonight. Thanks for hanging in. As I said, there's so much awesome stuff going on. You can't fit that in 20 minutes. You gotta spend a little bit more time than that. Now we're gonna get to honor directly individuals and organizations in the community that are going to be recognized and awarded tonight. Fortunately for us, a partner of the deck over the last years has been PepsiCo. They've participated in a bunch of different ways. I think earlier we talked about the Revive Dallas Small Business Relief Fund. PepsiCo came in and helped fund several businesses that have been able to come back to see success, have connected into mentors, have been able to refigure and restructure what they're doing in 2021 and beyond because of PepsiCo's involvement. So if you guys remember what we do when people come to the stage, if you guys will help me welcome to the stage Tyler Chapman from PepsiCo, I would appreciate it. Come on, stand up. Matt Alexander, stand up.
Hey, thank you, everyone. I really appreciate it. So I'm not going to give a long speech. You can identify me, according to Bill, from being one of the corporate guys who's a little bit stressed, a little bit tired, a little bit sad, but I'm happy to be here. I think from a PepsiCo standpoint, it's obviously been a very interesting year, and we're here because we want to support this community in a big way. PepsiCo has committed to $500 million on the racial equality journey over the next 5 years of investment, and over $50 million of that goes straight into Black and Hispanic-owned businesses on smaller entrepreneur businesses. So we're excited to be here, and thank you for that. So I'm going to jump right into the awards, and I think everybody knows this, but the nominations came from this audience, from this group, and that was voted on by this group. To speed it up a little bit, we're not going to have the winners come up. We're just going to ask them to stand. But all the nominees are in the room, so if we could just take a second and applaud the nominees for great, great work. All right, so I'm going to have to read a little bit here because I want to be very specific on it. We're going to start with the Creative Entrepreneur Award. And that award honors a local creative that has made exceptional progress and/or impact with his or her product, service, business, or organization in innovative ways in the past year. For the purposes of this award, the creative industry is composed of art-centric businesses, entertainers, musicians, artists, architects, filmmakers, photographers, videographers, fashion designers, interior designers, and advertising companies. So I'm going to try not to butcher some names here, but there are some challenging ones for me. So the nominees, Shireen Abdullah, Annie Grande, and Morgan Denton Katz. So congratulations to them. And the winner is Annie Grande. So congratulations, Annie. Hope I got your name right there. Awesome. The last one that I'm going to do here is the Student Entrepreneur Award. And this one honors a local student founder and their company that has made exceptional progress and impact with a product, service, or organization in the most innovative of ways. we're looking for student nominees who are in the undergraduate or graduate program of a local college or university with a company operating for at least 6 months with at least $500 in generated revenue. So the nominees, once again, a little bit challenging on a couple names here. Wole Akande, Lindsay Dixon, and Shriva Pedicetti. And the winner is Lindsay Dixon. Congratulations, Lindsay. You out there somewhere? All right. They're going to bring you your awards because they saw you stand. So congratulations, Lindsay. So with that, I'm gonna pass it back to Bill. I think everybody knows Bill. I'm not going to do a fancy introduction at this point. So congratulations.
All right, good evening. I'm subbing in for someone who is giving these awards, but we have 3 awards to give. Rising Entrepreneur. Rising Entrepreneur Award honors a local entrepreneur that's been in business for more than 7 years, making an exceptional program and or impact in his or her product, service, business, or organization in the most innovative ways for the past year. Individuals nominated for this award should truly embody the heart and soul of entrepreneurship. And the nominees are Lindsay Dixon, my friend Charles Lass, Rose Simmons. And the winner is Charles Lass. Way to go, Charles. Well deserved. Next award, we have the Investor of the Year. The Investor of the Year award honors an angel investor or an investment firm who has gone above and beyond supporting the entrepreneurial community. This award highlights not only capital, but also connections and support to drive success. The nominees are Capital Factory, Communities Foundation, Texas Impact Ventures, and the winner is Communities Foundation of Texas. Finally, we have the Corporate Supporter of the Year Award. This is a Corporate Supporter of the Year Award honors a corporation who has invested time and financial support into the entrepreneurial ecosystem in Dallas-Fort Worth. They have historically invested in entrepreneurs with time spent, mentorship, resources, capital, and funding. And there are no nominees. So the nominees are, the nominees are Capital One, JP Morgan Chase, PepsiCo, and the winner is Capital One. I'd like to bring to the stage a friend of ours, Charlie Lass. Charlie, winner.
This is for you. That's my award. So if you could just give that to... Fantastic. Thank you very much. That wasn't contrived at all.
No, not at all. Hey, thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. I'd like to introduce you our next presenter, someone who's been in the entrepreneurial world for a long time, done some amazing things in the nonprofit sector, a dear friend to everyone who's an entrepreneur in Dallas. Tasha, come on up.
Well, I personally think that this is the most important award for the evening. A startup evangelist is a person who supports local startups and establishes a standard in the community. They help set the community ideology, mindset, and they help to facilitate communication between all of the major stakeholders, like the ones here in the room. They engage the community on a regular basis, and they share ideas to push differing groups of opinions to discover common ground. It's not about shouting through a megaphone about the news. It's about having their ear to the ground to enforce transparency in the messaging, to retain the authenticity of our community, and most importantly, in my opinion, it's about their passion for entrepreneurs. The Startup Evangelist protects and preserves the spirit of community by being the voice of reason with a give first mentality and by championing the community. So I first want to read the nominees. I kind of feel like I'm in the Oscars. Like I need to hear that Oscar music going. So the nominees are Will Atkins, Darlisa Deltz, Jessica Viterio, and the winner is Dalisa. Yes. Thank you so much.
So I found out, since I've been up on stage since the beginning of the night, that we have missed a couple of companies that actually got funding. One is Arcade, with our buddy David Cherry over there, $7 million raised. How long did that take, David? A couple weeks? Yeah, like 7 years, whatever it takes. And then Noise Aware, another one of the startups from our community, closed $8 million in funding. It's incredible. It didn't happen while I was standing here tonight, but it happened and we didn't know about it, so we're gonna bring it. And then I just want to say a special thanks to Jared and Shannon Crouch. They did all the creative work for the videos that you've seen under the creative couch. Can we say thank you to Jared and Shannon? That's awesome work, guys. Thank you so much. All right, so you heard the mayor talk about this before, so this is like a real celebrity that we have coming to the stage now. But the mayor launched the Mayor's Task Force on Innovation and... Can you guys hear me? Okay, just checking. Rude boys in the corner, right? The mayor launched a task force on innovation and entrepreneurship, and the impetus and what really got that started was Mandy Price. You've heard Mandy's name mentioned several times tonight. She's an incredible entrepreneur. She's raised money from across the country. She is the type of example entrepreneur that we want here in Dallas, that are doing and making great things happen. I want to invite Mandy up tonight to talk a little bit about the task force and what the task force has been doing, so that next week when you see the results of the task force, you'll know who was the impetus for making it happen. So please stand up and welcome to the stage, Mandy Price.
So my name is Mandy Price, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Canaries. In 2018, I founded my company that takes a holistic approach to solving DEI challenges, enabling companies to immediately take action towards systemic change. Our mission at Canaries is to create workplaces where everyone belongs. I was born and raised in DFW and had a career here in Dallas. Like many of you, I am so proud to live in Dallas, and I know the strength of our business community, and was excited to learn about the opportunity to launch and grow Canaries in such a great market. But while my co-founders and I were building Canaries, like many entrepreneurs, we encountered numerous challenges. For many years, DFW has been recognized across the country as one of the fastest growing regions. In Texas, the cost of doing business is 3% lower compared to the national average, and our state has no corporate income tax. DFW has over 228,000 high-tech jobs and hosts 1/3 of all high-tech jobs in Texas. However, once I began fundraising for Canaries, I realized that for such a strong market, Dallas had more work to do in terms of supporting their many talented entrepreneurs. My co-founders and I faced these challenges head on. And we recently closed our $3 million seed round, which brought our total amount of raised funds to $4.6 million to date. Thank you. While this accomplishment has given us support in building a great product and team, The majority of this funding came from outside of Dallas. I'm hopeful and more confident that for our Series A, that changes. Through the task force, we want to help change that for all DFW entrepreneurs, ensure that the City of Dallas is creating a supportive hub for startups, entrepreneurs, and driving innovation. And a public-private partnership similar to how other cities have designed, we can help further become a hub for innovation. In a global economy, it's more important than ever that we foster our strong entrepreneur talent here by supporting them in every way possible and building DFW companies together. As we begin emerging from the pandemic, Dallas is embracing an opportunity to accelerate its economic recovery with a renewed focus on supporting young companies that want to grow and make an impact. The importance of supporting startups has been elevated by Mayor Eric Johnson through the formation of the task force that's been discussed several times here tonight. And I'm so proud to serve as a co-chair of this effort alongside Trey. We're also fortunate to be joined by the task force of 15 talented leaders who are all behind me, but we also have several task force members here today. The task force members represent investors, startup founders, education leaders, tech experts, and major employers in the region. I want to acknowledge our task force members, and if you're here today, please stand up. I know several of you are standing, so please raise your hand so we can recognize you. Thank you so much. Again, a huge thank you to the task force members for the months and months of work they've dedicated to ensuring our startup ecosystem is vibrant. So together, we are focusing our work on 4 things startups need to survive and thrive. Training on how to start a company, coaching on how to lead and grow their businesses, customers, and capital to fund their growth. Some of the clear challenges that we're working to address are corporate customers. The best way to grow any business is by acquiring a sizable number of customers that provide early revenue streams and serve as market validation. The task force is working to connect Dallas-based corporations with our city's startups to help startups get the contracts, revenue, and traction necessary to growth. Capital. Most Dallas-based founders are finding their investors outside the city, and then those investors are often pressured or require the businesses to relocate to the East or West Coast. We'll address the gap by working to develop solutions that will provide capital both locally and externally to support our startups. Equitable entrepreneurship. We need to focus on continuing the great work that's being done already to make Dallas a city full of diverse entrepreneurs. As a task force, we're working to create specific solutions that are intentionally designed to support entrepreneurs of color and female founders. And then last and not least is city engagement. We'll address some key ways the City of Dallas can attract, retain, and support startups with the goal of becoming an example of how other cities can work with entrepreneurs. It's incredibly important that the task force and startup community work together to ensure all startup businesses can find success here and put our city on the map for innovation. Dallas isn't always on the list of top cities for entrepreneurs and startups, but it should be. We're starting from a strong foundation. The city has a thriving and diverse economy, and we have the talent to compete with anyone. The city is also home to dozens of organizations that offer networking opportunities, education, and other support services to startup businesses. The future of North Texas startup community is in our hands, and if we work together, we can cultivate a culture that allows startups to succeed and flourish. This is a unique moment, and Dallas's startup ecosystem is well positioned for an explosion of growth. By working together, we can strengthen the focus on nurturing startups and fuel more innovation throughout the city. Thank you again, and let's get to work on making Dallas the city for entrepreneurship and innovation.
Okay, we're almost done, but I got good news. Who likes $100,000? Is it anybody out there? Okay. I can't see you, but you look like you like it. Well, our amazing and incredible sponsor tonight, Dallas Incorporated, led by Charlie Lass, is going to come up and talk about a special giveaway that he's going to have for anybody who's here and anybody that's watching online. So, Charlie, can we get you back up here, buddy? Let's hear for Charlie. Come on. Who doesn't like a guy with a $100,000 giveaway? It's incredible. Nobody, that was crap. Everybody stand up and cheer again. That was weak. There you go. There you go.
Thank you, Trey. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, we're here to find, fund, or launch the best ideas in DFW over the next 12 months. And we're going to start that with one of our month-long 30 days Idea to Market awards. So, I'm going to hand it over to Austin. But if anyone would like to win a business, these are the things to do.
Good evening, y'all. It's a really pleasure to be here, and just thank you so very much. We are here to give away $100,000 of our consultancy service. Oh, sorry, got to hold it closer. So before we get started, I just want y'all to know, we've heard a lot tonight about how great the DFW area is for entrepreneurship. Despite the fact that my name is Austin, my home is Dallas. Come on, y'all. There we go, there we go, there we go. So, that being said, the mayor really touched on a lot of things this evening, why this area is the best. So, we're launching this fund, or this initiative, to help the DFW area take its entrepreneurship level to the next level. So, without further ado, the lines are open. Operators are waiting on your call. If you could please scan this, and or you have it at your table. You will be asked to enter in a little bit of information. Tomorrow you will receive an email asking for a little bit further details. And then on May the 12th, a winner will be decided. And I can promise you after this evening that Charlie Lass will not be the winner of this competition. So, all things being said, thank y'all very much for coming out tonight. Charlie.
Thanks, guys. You can't guarantee I won't win, but you never know. Please scan this. Those at home, maybe the feed is still working. Who knows? Follow us, find us. We're not going to ask you for any information about the idea. It's about the industry, about you, all that stuff. The lines for registration close at midnight tonight. Then the form goes out tomorrow morning, and then 2 days starts Friday, midnight, we're done, and then next Wednesday we announce. So, that's it. 100 grand.
Thank y'all. Appreciate it. All right. Sorry. So I promise this is the end. I just need to look and make sure there's not something extremely important I'm supposed to tell you. What I can say is this. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for sitting through the amazing amount of information we have and the unbelievable amount of stuff that's going on. Thank you. Those guys over there said they're going to buy a round of drinks at the bar after this, so I don't know what that means, but thank you guys for that. This is the beginning. DFW does not continue to evolve without everybody in this room finding a way to play their role. If you're a corporation, engage with startups. If you're a city, find a way to remove obstacles that stand in the way of helping businesses get started. If you're an investor, let us help you find investable companies. And if you're a startup, let us help make you more investable. If you're a mentor, come in and spend your time and your effort and your skill set to showcase to people what you can do and how you can help them. It's invaluable. But the only way we win and the only way we move forward is together. And the one thing that I love about DFW is that's what we do. We're a can-do city with a can-do spirit. And you heard the mayor tonight, now we're a can-do city for all entrepreneurs. So partner with us, find out ways to get involved. There's so many amazing organizations. You've seen several of them tonight that you can engage with. Connect. Use tonight to celebrate and network, and come back a year from now and let us show you what you've accomplished in the next 12 months. Thank you guys for being here. Thanks to the deck for putting this on. Have a great night. Enjoy your time. Happy State of Entrepreneurship and happy Cinco de Mayo. There you go.